So, Pokemon Legends CA has been out for about a month now, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions on the game. Some good, some bad, as you've probably seen, shortly after the game came out. But we're not going to talk about anybody else's opinion. It's only my opinion that matters, okay? I played this game, I got it like probably a week after it originally came out, and I just beat it like a week ago. And honestly, ever since I beat it, I've only been spending my time mostly shiny hunting, kind of doing some of the side quests I haven't done yet. But for the most part, I have just been shiny hunting, which is the first time I've ever done this in a Pokemon game. Is like go out of my way to actually shiny hunt a Pokemon. But I want to just explain what my problems with the game were, what I enjoyed about the game. Because again, I didn't get it on release day. I got it like a week afterwards. I got like the bundle that came with the Switch 2 because I didn't have a Switch 2 at that point. And when I sat down and played it, up until that point, I tried to stay away from as much like content as I could. Like there were Pokemon YouTubers that I watched that I didn't watch their videos because I didn't want to get spoiled on certain things. And obviously, sometimes that didn't work. Other times I would accidentally come across spoilers if I was, scrolling through social media. So there were definitely plot elements that I was aware of, but I mostly tried to keep myself out of the loop when it came to spoilers. I still heard, everyone talking about it, mostly the people who were just yelling about how they didn't like the game. But again, for the most part, I really enjoy this game. I'm just going to start off with some of my negatives. I do think this game could have looked better. Not in like it could look more realistic sort of sense, which I saw a lot of people saying, which to me it's just like, it's so lazy to think that a game could only look better by making it look more realistic. I wanted more of a cell shading sort of art style in a way, like a more cartoon. I think Pokemon would work better if it didn't try to look realistic, if it tried to look more like, hey, this is like a cartoony, it's a Pokemon game should not look like every other, AAA action RPG type game. It should have its own style. But honestly, that's really it in terms of like my big negatives of the game. The only other one that I might have is that I feel like Urbane's story, even though it is supposed to have importance to it, just kind of falls flat. And also, like with the main company of the game, what I guess could be called the bad guys, how do you pronounce it? Quasartico? Yeah, Quasartico. Like, I feel like they could have been more evil. Like, they could have, actually built them up as an evil organization that you have to go up against because they're just kind of there. And even though, like, it's later revealed that they're not directly at fault for the rogue mega evolution, and it's spread throughout the city. I feel like they could have done more with their involvement. And maybe like Vinny is like the only good person on the inside that can help us. But then we had to take on I don't even remember the CEO's name. And they're supposed to be like the grandmother to Urbane. Jet, her name is Jet. Like she barely shows up. She gets yelled at by like a group of people and that's really it. Or we see her at the like beginning on a screen. That's really the beginning and end of her involvement in the story until she reveals that she's Urbane's grandmother. So yeah, I did very much enjoy this game. Overall, again, my only problems with it were they could have done more with the corporation and the game could look better, but not in a I think its graphics could look more realistic. It's just that I wish they would have gone with a more cartoony style than what they've been going for since like Scarlet and Violet this generation. But other than that, again, for the most part, I really enjoy this game. Like, I don't really have any massive negatives. Because even like with the graphics and how it looks, to me, it wasn't awful enough that it made me hate the game. Like, if the graphics did look terrible, I wouldn't be playing it. I probably wouldn't be playing it as much as I did. But, like, it still looked fine. It wasn't a big negative that made me want to stop playing the game because for the most part I just really enjoyed it. And I get that people have different opinions in mind, shit like that, but like honestly it was really hard for me when I was sitting down and playing this game to be like, here are some aspects I don't really like. Actually, thinking about it now, there is one aspect that I dreaded about this game, and that's Mabel's research. Having to go win 1,000 battles is bullshit. Alright? That is some bullshit. The fact that she fucking has you go out there, like, here's the thing. Before that, you only had to win 500. I feel like they should have just had it, like, the next step was 750. Like, do a sweet middle spot, but no, 1,000. And I saw some people say, like, oh, well, there's a certain cafe that you can just spam battles in. And I was like, I tried it. It wasn't working. Maybe I didn't thoroughly read through the guide or whatever people were offering. So I just did the ZA Royale method, and it wasn't difficult, it was just annoying. Like, that was probably the closest I ever got to just being like, fuck this, I'm out. But I wanted the shiny charm, so I had to. But anyways, overall, again, this was just really fun. I really enjoyed the final boss fight, the fact that it wasn't just another rogue mega evolution, the fact that you actually did, like, it felt like a boss fight. It really did. Like, for the most part, it's just kind of you with your Pokemon taking on like two little vines that pop out. It was kind of like the Poison Ivy boss fight from Arkham Asylum in a way. But then when you got to control Zygarde, to attack like Floette, that was awesome. I absolutely love that. Actually made you feel like you were playing as a Pokemon. That was fun. But where I feel like this game really hit its stride was in its characters. I really enjoyed its characters a lot, whether it be the characters of Team MZ, like Urbane, Naveen, Lita. Absolutely love them. I think they're really good characters. I mean, Naveen is the only one I have a bit of a problem with, but that's just because, like, he's a stan. He's a cringy, like, stan. That's really it. But he looks cool. He has a Scrafty as his main, which makes me love him all the more. But even outside of Team MZ, I love AZ in this. I love, like, the quote unquote gym leaders, because that's kind of what they are in this game. They're kind of like the wardens that you had to deal with in Arceus, if anything. Like, you had Corbeau from the Rust Corporation and his, little lackey, whose name I'm forgetting. But you had like Ivar, you had Canary, you had her grandfather. You had Gwen. I loved Gwen. I loved that little mission where Ivar was just being so fucking annoying. Here's the thing. Something that I saw in terms of people discussing, this game and its flaws is that they feel like Pokemon games at this point need to have voice acting. And the only reason I'm necessarily in favor of that, well, there's two reasons. One, it would be better for people who, can't read. Not in like both in an illiterate sense and like, people who are blind, but also just so I can understand how I'm supposed to pronounce these people's names. Like, is it Janis? How do you pronounce this? Let's look it up. Pronunciation. Jacinth. Okay, so Jacinth. Like, even Jacinth, even though she, like, her whole thing was being fucking annoying, I still loved her. She was still a very unique character. I also liked her, like, her minion. She's the assistant, but, like, she's kind of forced to do it. Lebane. But I really love her, like, the way that when you first meet her, you can feel like she just doesn't want to be there. Like, you can just tell, like, she's like, I really just don't want to be doing this. And then as soon as you start to battle her, she just gets, like, all fired up. Like, I really like that aspect. Even though in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to the story, you don't spend that much time with these characters, they do leave an impact, which is great. Like, even characters that you are introduced to early in the story that you honestly don't even think they'll even come up again, like Grisham and Grizel. Like, you get introduced to them early in the story. I believe they don't even tell you their names. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure when you get first introduced to them, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Maybe I wasn't paying attention at all of like what their names were. But I feel like when you first get introduced to them, they don't really say anything. Like, they're just another cafe that's up, but hey, they look a little different. But then when you actually like get to the end part of the story, like, or at least towards the end, it's revealed that they're actually like ex-Team Flare members. And not only that, but like, Grisham is literally one of the strongest trainers in the Royale. And he is definitely like the hardest boss, in my opinion, or like the hardest trainer to face, because like everyone else I feel like I did pretty well against. I think the only other one that I struggled with was the final fight between me and Urbane, and that was like determining who will take Floette up to the tower. But other than that fight, like, I would say if anything, Grisham's was like the toughest I would say he was even more tough than the Urbane fight. And the only other like fight outside of that, like the Rogue Mega Evolutions that really gave me trouble were the Zygarde one. That was it. And the Bayonet one, but that was just because of my own stupidity, if anything. But like speaking of like the Rogue Mega Evolution battles, I can't say for sure that they're better than the Lord missions, like the boss battles that you have in Legends Arceus. I would say I enjoyed the Arceus battles more, but probably because they were just a lot fewer, so they didn't feel that repetitive when you had to do them back to back. Like what you have to do with the Rogue Mega Evolutions. Like there's parts of the story where you literally have to choose which one out of three you have to do, but like you have to do all of them. You can't just decide, hey, I just want to do this one, because they're key in getting the Mega Stones for the Pokemon that you're facing off against. So I wish there were probably like more sporadic, like, or you only had to like really do one. I don't know. Like I didn't hate them, but to me they were just fine. Like I didn't love the Rogue Mega Evolution battles just because I didn't feel like they really did that much. They were mostly just combining the two elements, I feel like, from the Arceus battles, which is like there's the part where you just had to dodge attacks and throw bombs, and then there's the part where you had to like throw Pokemon out to weaken it. And even then you don't have to do that. You just throw bombs all you want. But with the Rogue Mega Evolution battle, it felt like they were just combining those two elements of like, you have to dodge the attacks that the Pokemon are coming after you with, and you just also have to keep attacking the Mega Evolution Pokemon with your Pokemon. So, it was a bit much, but it wasn't like a nuisance. I might as well talk about the criticism of like this only taking place in Lumiose City. And when this game first got announced and that was like the reveal is that like, oh, it's just Lumiose, I did have the same reaction. I was just like, oh, it's just in one city? That's kind of lame. But here's the thing. To me, if it makes sense within the story, then I will give it a pass. And for this game, it does. It does make sense that it would only take place in Lumiose. Because like, the whole story in a way is about like, corporations trying to redevelop certain parts of cities, and I feel like just keeping it to Lumiose instead of being like, oh, you're gonna explore all of Kalos would kind of like lessen the message. And obviously people will look at that and just be like, oh, this is just an excuse to not do as much. And well, that's definitely, you could definitely argue that's the case. I feel like sacrificing that in order to have a game that feels more compact, more connected, that doesn't feel all over the place is better. And also, I feel like for this city, they do make a good effort in making it very explorable. Like, it is fun to traverse the city, in my opinion. Like, through, like, the gliding system, through, like, going off on the rooftops. I do like the wild zone areas. They're not, like, unique in a lot of respects. Some of them are pretty fun, and I like them. But, like, others feel pretty bland, and they're not like unique, unlike the 5 different areas you could go in Hisui. But overall, again, I feel like it works for what the story was going for, keeping it in Lumiose City. And I feel like if you just expand on that, like you could definitely do that for a post-game activity, which they don't do, unfortunately. But I do feel like they do enough in the post-game to keep you interested. But like making, maybe nearby areas to Lumiose more accessible would have been fun. But obviously we're going to get the Mega Dimension DLC, which I heard a lot of people say like, oh, this is just cut content. From what I've seen, I don't think so. If anything, it's like the DLC from God of War Ragnarok. It's just a roguelike. It's adding something to the game you already played, but also doing something different from it. So I feel like that should be enough. And obviously we could get into the pricing of like DLC in the game itself, but this isn't necessarily what it's about. It is very much atrocious, don't get me wrong, but like this is a industry whole problem that we also need to be talking about. But that's really all I had to say in terms of like my opinions on it. If you're curious to know what my team was, I chose Totodile as my starter, so I got a Feraligatr and obviously a Mega Feraligatr. And maybe this is an unpopular opinion, I feel like people are pretty 50-50 on this. I love Mega Feraligatr. I do wish that it's like the fin that's also like the Totodile head was a bit lower, but I do understand that they were probably just trying to go for like, oh, you think it's just like the fin on its back extended, but actually it's a Totodile head, but whatever. I like the thought of it. I think they just could have done a little bit better in terms of exactly how it looks. Like maybe just like tilt the head down a little bit, like a 45-degree angle instead of just straight up. The other Pokemon I used, I had a Ralts that was from the mystery gift. I believe it's still active. It's holding the Gardevoir right, so you can have a Mega Gardevoir as soon as you have a Mega Ring. Most of my team, in fact, was like gift Pokemon. So you have like the starter, the Ralts, the shiny Mareep that you get in that one side quest that became an Ampharos, the Bulbasaur you get from Mabel that evolves into a Venusaur, which, by the way, I went into this game. I already kind of selected my team beforehand of like, this is the Pokemon that I want to use. And I knew at some point there was going to be that Kanto starter selection. Now, unlike X and Y, it's not mandatory, it's just a side quest. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get Bulbasaur because, you know, I've used Charizard as part of a former XY team, like my first one. And I've used the Blastoise and Mega Blastoise when I first played Let's Go Pikachu. So I'm going to select Mega Venusaur. Let's do this. Even though it doesn't have thick fat, so unfortunately because abilities just don't exist in this game. But I was like, I'm going to use Mega Venusaur only to find out it's the only Kanto Mega Evolution that you have to get via the story. Like the other Mega Evolutions, the other Mega Stones for Charizard and Blastoise are in the Stone Emporium, the place where you can buy Mega Stones, other than the HQ for the corporation. But the Venusaur Mega Stone, you have to get as part of the story. You have to get in a Rogue Mega Evolution battle. The only one. I was like, son of a bitch. Then the other two, they weren't gift Pokemon. I actually caught them on my own. It was an Excadrill. I love the Mega of Excadrill, and I would say that Excadrill was my MVP of this game. He did so well against so many different Pokemon. And then my final team member, I wish was a bit better, but because it's, you know, a single stage Pokemon, I just wish its stats were a little bit better. Hawlucha. I love Hawlucha. Loved when Mega Hawlucha came out. I just unfortunately didn't use it all that much outside of like just picking up Mega Shards. I wish he was a little bit more useful. Hopefully someday we can get a bit of a stat boost. I mean, that's what Mega Evolutions are for. But I didn't feel like I had to use him all that much in this playthrough. But that also could just be because like Excadrill and Feraligatr were just such good team members. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I definitely want to replay it. Except I don't want to like restart my current playthrough. So who knows? I could probably just, you know, start another one on another profile or whatever. But I'm definitely gonna wait until the DLC comes out. I already got all of my main team up to level 100, which I'm so glad I decided to do, and even before finding out what the DLC was, because now I'm just like, now I'm prepared. All right, now I am good to go. I was thinking about training other Pokemon up for it, like the legendary Pokemon and shit like that, but like as of right now, I'm probably just gonna stick with my main team and just shiny hunt till my heart's content. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say. In terms of like Pokemon Legends EA, I do think it's one of the better Pokemon games that we had in a long time, in my opinion. It might just be too soon. I mean, it's been a month since its release. I do feel like when you look at Pokemon games in their entirety, I feel like it would be hard to argue that it's not top 5 in terms of Pokemon games overall, because it's a lot better than some of the worst or even like mid-level games. But I don't know if it's just too soon to say it's one of the best ones. But I do feel like it's up there. And maybe, you know, maybe a month after, maybe when the DLC comes out and we have some time away from that, we can like really look at this game as a whole. But overall, I really enjoyed this game. To me, it was definitely like a personal 9 out of 10. I just had way too much fun playing this game. I cannot put it down. It's just hard for me to say anything else. Maybe critically, I would probably say a 7. But personally, it is a 9. I loved this game. It has some problems. It's not perfect. But to me, it was just one hell of a time that I could just not stop playing. But that's all I really had to say about this game. And I will see you all next time. Hello everyone, thank you for watching today's video. If you would like to see other videos like this, please leave a like and subscribe down below. If you would like to see me talk about more political stuff, then you can check out my main channel, Fruitysaur. And if you would like to see me play video games, I have a channel called Fruitysaur Gaming where you can check out those videos there. Anyways, that's all I have for today, and I will see you all next time.